RedZoneSports.bet, the British home of American sports.
Hi guys, and welcome to this week's episode of the SportsHeads NBA edition, sponsored by RedZoneSports.bet. You are tuning into our weekly review show. My name is Tori, and I am accompanied by Steve.
Hey, how's it going?
And Nick.
Hello, hello, hello.
Also known as the Grinch and St. Nicholas.
Nice. Almost Christmas.
I was going to say, I can drop that in for another
I like it.
2 episodes.
No, all year round. Yeah.
That's just because you want like the saint part.
Exactly.
That's all right.
Exactly.
We'll change it. You can be Saint Valentine next.
Yes.
Aww. Right. Anyway,
Here.
let's make a move. Hot topic: LeBron. Right? Rockets potential interest. I mean, obviously, there's been talks about DeAndre Jordan, and now there's talks about LeBron. Both of them, I think, would be a great fit, especially if CP3 and Harden are still there.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think it's going to be like they've got to re-sign CP3 first. That's the first bit of business they've got to get sorted out. LeBron to Houston is an interesting one. I mean, one of the first things that sticks out for me is he's never played in the Western Conference. He always likes to say, that nice little move towards the NBA Finals, always going through the East. If he goes over to the West, he's got Golden State to contend with, and he may not actually even get to an NBA Finals. So for me, I don't know if he's going to take that chance and go forward with that. Houston are going to have to shred some salary, obviously, if they're going to try and make this move. Anderson, Gordon, and Tucker make a combined $40 million next year. They're going to have to go.
Yep.
But it's not even just the fact that they're making that money next year. They're making that money going forward as well, even the following year. They're going to be very difficult contracts to move. Are we going to see an opportunity where LeBron maybe takes a minimum? Potentially.
Good God.
Well, why not?
Yeah,
He's got enough
why not?
money. If the situation's right, then why not? I would love to see him go to do a full-on heel turn and actually join the Golden State Warriors.
He enjoyed that, being the bad guy in Miami.
But why not?
Joining the Warriors.
Yeah, join the Warriors. Why not? Clay, Steph.
I would
Draymond,
actually enjoy that.
Could we see that happening?
I don't think. Oh.
Why not?
This is
with
LeBron.
him, why not? Exactly.
This is LeBron.
That would be the super team of all super teams.
Yeah, but he'd just be joining another. I don't think he'll do that. But
destroys his legacy.
Yeah, it does. But Houston, it'd be interesting, but I don't see it going to Houston. I do think he'll go to the West, but I think it's going to be in LA. I think it'll be the Lakers. He's got the house. There's all that talk.
Touch on that as well.
I think it depends what happens going forward. If Houston, compete really well against Golden State, and it's very close, then maybe he would think of Houston. And depending what Cleveland do, if Cleveland win the whole thing, then maybe he stays for another one. I don't know.
Do you think Houston have to win the NBA championship, or at least get to the finals to even entice LeBron?
I do. Yeah. Although Chris Paul is one of his best buddies, isn't he? So he does want to play with him. But yeah, no, I think so. I mean, LeBron, I think it is a legacy. He's chasing Jordan. I don't think he'd want to go somewhere that's a step back. And if it's Houston, say they get out first, second round, I don't think he'll do that.
The thing is, though, that if you want to compare his legacy to MJ's legacy, I mean, MJ was in Chicago, won all the championships there.
Yep.
LeBron had to move here and everywhere to win those championships. A legacy isn't the same. I don't want to sit here and slam LeBron for it.
No.
But it isn't the same legacy. I think an interesting move, if he was going to make it, if we're going to throw some other teams out there, is the Timberwolves for me would be a really interesting move.
Yeah, I could.
You put him into a scenario where you have Jimmy Butler, Andrew Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns, very good coach,
defensive coach,
as well.
No, I could see
and,
that.
He would
hasn't
be
won in a while.
No, and this is it. I mean, he's the experienced head going in there. You can make things work. And it's the thing about LeBron. He can play any position. He can make everything work. It doesn't. You don't have to sit and think, oh, okay, we've got a small forward opening. We've got this, and that. He can do absolutely anything these days, But I really love the Golden State one. You put those 5 guys out there. I don't care who you got coming off the bench.
It would be a bit boring, though, wouldn't it?
It would not be boring because you would see probably the greatest team to ever set foot on an NBA court
outside of New York, and
outside of New York.
Yeah, that's right.
Really?
No. But I don't think that would happen. I think just because of the flack he'd get for it.
Without doubt. If you think Durant got flack,
exactly.
wait and see how much LeBron would get for that.
I don't know. I think LeBron does want to be the bad guy, but I don't know. It's going to go.
Are you trying to define how much of a bad guy he wants
and
to
I think
be?
it's really
And
set
do you
up for
not
him to
think
go to LA. I
Just
really
from
do.
kind of his history, he likes that little bit more of a challenge to bring that team up. Do you know what I mean? Rather than it be.
I would prefer that, but I don't think that.
I know, I don't know so much because he's kind of done both of those
Yeah.
things. Obviously, he's
He
gone
wants
to
some
Miami
buddies.
with Wade and Bosh,
Yeah.
but then he's then gone to Cleveland and kind of said, I want to bring a championship back to where I'm from. Minnesota, for me, is probably the most intriguing one. If he's, again, we haven't even looked at the fact is, would he stay in the Eastern Conference if he does move from Cleveland? I mean, people are throwing around, well, Boston could potentially make a move for him. I cannot see LeBron playing for Boston. There is way too much history of those two teams.
I would hope he would go west if he went anywhere.
I think, for me, because he hasn't gone there before, that to me is the one place that he really needs to kind of try and give it a go.
But I agree with what you said earlier. It's a good point that the West is too tough, and he's got 7 straight finals. I think he'd want to keep that streak going and stay in the East. And any team in the East with LeBron, you're in the finals.
I think it's tough at the top, but I don't think now the depth is so much of a difference compared to the East. We're seeing much better teams come through the East now.
Better, yeah.
So if you want to look at up-and-coming teams, you look at the fact of like the Sixers. What they're doing. They could potentially make a run.
And maybe LeBron jumps before they catch up to Cleveland.
Put him in Milwaukee with Giannis.
Put him in China.
I feel like that's the answer of everyone. Go China.
Back with D Rose?
Exactly. Yeah. Now it'd be interesting to see.
They make their new super team over there.
Maybe I could see that happening. It's going to be interesting, but it could fool everyone and just stay in Cleveland.
To be honest with you, I could throw around all of these teams, and if he stabs Cleveland in the heart again,
that's why I don't think he will.
Yeah, the message we got when he came back last time was, I'm home. Yeah. I'm going to bring a championship back to Cleveland. This is it for me now. And for him to now turn around and basically stab a team in the heart again, what it's like is like getting married, then getting divorced, then coming back and meeting your ex, getting married again, and then just for good measure, divorcing her again.
Well, make sure
it's an interesting analogy, but I mean,
that's what it's
I guess so.
And the kids are the fans of the franchise.
Little crybabies.
All right, we did touch a second ago on LeBron liking best friends, but I feel with LeBron, you either are his absolute best friend or you are his enemy. But one of his best friends, Dwyane Wade, obviously he got brought by LeBron over to
Cleveland.
The Cavs. Yeah, thank you. And they already had the shooting guard in RJ Smith, so that didn't happen. He went on the bench. He's clearly thriving from this position, and LeBron has come out and said that he sees him as getting sixth man.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see that. I think it's just a natural fit as well. Actually, I think Wade. What is he? 35. I think
I just said
start now.
RJ. I meant
you did.
JR.
I was going to correct you, but
thank you. That's fine. Correct me.
I thought we'll edit that out.
I'm sick.
But I think Wade there. It just fits. They were kind of the starters were set without Wade. He just brings stability and depth now to the bench, and I think he would get 6 men of the year. They're playing extremely well right now.
Yeah, I think it is an excellent fit for Wade. I mean, what we saw last year in Cleveland, last year in Chicago, was a player that didn't really want to be there. It should have been one of those things, the kid from Chicago, going and playing for that franchise at last, how's this going to work? It should really work well, but it doesn't come out that way. So Chicago then decided they need to get rid of him because they want to go on the full-on rebuild. So then the obvious fit was for him to go to Cleveland and be reunited with LeBron. And it's worked out better than expected because I think he's found the role that he can provide excellence across that team. He is like the guy that fits with everything now because in the first unit you've got LeBron, you've got Kevin Love are the main scoring threats. You have Wade coming with that second unit. I mean, his PEI is 16.8, 11.5 points per game. His true shooting percentage is 52.3%. So he's shooting the ball incredibly well. 36% from three. He's never really been a great three-point shooter. And he's doing this in 23 minutes a game.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, so he's also very efficient about what he's doing. So you bring him in and you play like Korver on that second unit as well. Let J.R. Smith play on the first unit. I think that works much better than having J.R. basically having to be the main shooting threat coming off second. We all know that when the ball goes in JR's hands, he likes to shoot. That's what he likes to do. So if you put him in a scenario where LeBron can kind of be like the facilitator, and LeBron's playing at an incredibly efficient level, the only player I think that you need to kind of throw into the 6th Man of the Year scenario at the moment is again Eric Gordon in Houston. He is a guy that's gone back to the bench. He was starting when CP3 was out. 6th man is where he's a much better fit. I mean, I was trumpeting his case last season for 6th Man of the Year right from the get-go. Yeah. I think Eric Gordon would probably be his main threat right now.
Rightfully so as well, yeah. No, and my only thing with Wade though is, well, it's a positive actually, is the fact that he is leading the team. I was going to say the second unit, he kind of is the floor leader, but this is a team of veterans. Yeah. They don't need, so everyone just kind of fits into their place. So less is expected of Wade, which I think is what allowing him to do more. And 23 minutes, you know, he's not going to play 30, 35, and he probably can't anymore. So for me, yeah, it's a perfect fit for Wade, and I think he will get the 6th man of the year.
But the thing is, I think he'll get the extra minutes when the playoffs come around, because you know the shortened bench. Exactly. I mean, at the moment he's playing 23 minutes. You've got to think that come playoff, he's going to be up in that 26, 27, 28 minute range, because they'll shorten that bench and they'll go with their trusted veterans. You're going to see a lot more of D Wade out on the floor with LeBron at that time.
Yeah, they know each other inside out, so it's worked before. So,
and I think as well, I mean, a lot of people are taking a look at D Wade and gone, well, you know, you're not the player you were. Maybe giving him a little bit too much respect right now. But you'll see how his numbers carry on over the course of the season.
Plus, they got to throw Isaiah into the mix.
I mean, that's an interesting one, because in actual fact, you can actually reduce D Wade's minutes down even further if you really wanted to. I mean, Thomas is due back like any time now. Yeah. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how he works within that environment.
Whether they'll switch things up at this point, or it's working. So
yeah. But then
you've got to play him. I mean, you've got to play him. But the problem for me is that when it comes to Thomas, we're going to talk about that, is the fact that the ball has to be in his hand for him to be effective. And I think that's always what you've got to think about when you're playing with LeBron. Is LeBron benefits most with the ball in his hand because he can create and do so many things on the floor. I mean, his vision is second to none of any player I've seen over the last 20 years. So for him to have to give up the ball, I don't think actually helps Cleveland's offense.
Yeah. No, you're right. 17 assists the other night.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
He does run the show.
I mean,
and rightfully so, he should.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about passing, you know, for me, he's right up there with some of the best floor generals we've had in Magic, John Stockton, that kind of guy.
That was coming in the league. That was one of the knocks I had him. But he used to throw stupid passes, those really dangerous cross-court ones. Yeah. And he still kind of does the cross-court, but now they're not stupid.
He knows. He knows
calculating now.
Yeah, and the thing is, with him being as efficient as he is right now, I mean, his numbers are ridiculous right now.
Yeah, insane. Yeah, he's getting better.
I honestly, for me, they're talking about James Harden.
Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
James Harden being the MVP, I think at the moment is actually is joke talk. I honestly think that LeBron is the best player in the NBA right now, and with that, if you're looking at MVP, you take Harden off the Rockets will still be successful. You take LeBron off of the Cavs, not successful. That's what MVP is. Most valuable player.
I feel like we've spoken quite a bit about LeBron today, so I'm going to move on. Just a quick topic. NBA recently played regular season games in Mexico City. Could we see expansion?
LeBron speaks Spanish. So.
Of course he does. Yeah. Of course he does.
I hope so. Eventually, probably one day. But I mean, this is the talk in all American sports, expanding outside of America. Yeah. I think it'll happen one day, but I don't think it'll happen in the next, 5 years or so.
I think it'll be nearer 10 rather than 5. I mean, I think the players have spoken very, very highly about playing these games over in Mexico City. I know it's going to end up happening. The minute there'll be talk of expansion to Mexico City, all of a sudden, like London, people will be going, we need to expand to Europe, but that is a long way off. Yeah. But I think, again, it's like everything else, as you say, the sports are testing the water by playing these games outside of North America. We've had the NFL are doing it, the NHL are doing it, baseball's going to be doing it soon.
It grows, you have to.
The one thing that will go in their favour is they're probably tall enough to climb the wall that Trump will.
This is true. This is a very good point.
There we go. And that's it. That's the only political statement this show is going to have this week.
But if there is expansion, I would like, the Seattle, for instance. There's places in America that should get a team before Mexico or London even, or, basketball needs to be back in Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle is. I mean, I think, again, the first part of that was what we heard in the last couple of weeks with the NHL being very favourable to move to Seattle.
Vegas.
That really nice arena. Vegas is another one. I would love to see Vegas. But Seattle, I think, would definitely be the first option before anything else. And it's what it should be. I mean, after what they went through, losing the team to Oklahoma City, Durant and everything else that went along with that, I think you do kind of need to go back to Seattle. It's a thriving
and I miss those
city.
Uniforms. I love the Key Arena.
But do you honestly think they'll bring them back? I mean, the Hornets
have
them as like a bit of a throwback now and again. But
I would hope so.
I would hope so. Nice uniforms. Just bring back out Sean Kemp and Gary Payton and let them play.
Gladly. We're agreeing here.
That makes a change. Right, so...
Until Pickham's.
Exactly. So it came through last night. Gordon Hayward has now shed his walking boot. So, I mean, he's in a brace still. It's not looking like an immediate recovery. I don't think there's any reason to get overly excited just yet. I mean, should he recover in time for the playoffs? Do we think he should play, or realistically should he sit the rest of the season out?
I think it does depend on his condition come playoff time. I think we'll get a better answer on this one, I think, come February or March. But I think, it's encouraging to see him out of the boot. But I think the other thing they have to have said, isn't it, that if he shows any issues, that's going back on.
The boot can come back,
Yeah, because at the end of the day, they want to protect him,
their
money, everything else that they've managed to put into this. And at the moment, the Celtics are playing incredibly well without him.
That's it.
So there is no reason to rush him back. The Celtics are going to be a playoff team. They're going to be either the 1 or 2 seed. So at the end of the day, what's the point in bringing him back anything you need to? The question I would have around this one is, if Hayward is healthy, you need to get him back into maybe 5 or 10 regular season games before the playoffs start. Playoffs are a completely different ball game. This again was something they said about Derrick Rose when he had that injury a few years ago, was that for Rose to come back and play in the playoffs when they potentially looked at it, he would have to play regular season games before that so he could get back into shape. There's one thing, training and everything else.
Personally, I can't quite see it
you can't just all of a sudden come back for the playoffs. So you've got to look at for a timetable for him to play in the playoffs. He's got to be ready to go by mid-March. For me, that is a huge ask, even at this point.
No, it is, and they are going to be a 1 or 2 seed. So kind of why, fix what's not broken in a way. Why? I mean, he would add something to it, but if it hasn't, if it hasn't gotten into the training, the practicing, as you were saying, you're messing up the cohesiveness that's already there, kind of thing. But if it was me, I would, if he can, walk by March and all that, and everything's wonderful, then you put him back in. If not, you just save him for next year. You're gonna, you start the season afresh with it, bringing in a brand new free agent, which it would be, and you push on from then.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics are going to be a top franchise in the East for a good number of years. There's going to be lots of opportunities for them to be able to compete for an NBA championship. But why risk it now, mess up Hayward in the process?
We've seen it in American football, same thing. Aaron Rodgers, he just has a bad injury and has come back for a big game. I don't know. I just think that's putting too much pressure and rushing guys back. I don't know. You probably know more than me. Training-wise, you probably put too much strain on your body.
I was going to say, I think I mentioned this the other day as well. Even if it's a case of you're recovered, but even mentally, if you have that little bit of weakness don't risk it.
I know.
Just take your time.
That's the thing.
They're still getting paid.
I mean, it is guaranteed money in the NBA, and I think that's a really good point, is the fact that he may be physically ready, but is he mentally ready? Yeah. And if you're going to go into the playoffs, I mean, all right, it's not kind of like the playoffs when we first started watching basketball, Nick, but it's still a lot more physical.
Sure.
It's a completely different game than the regular season.
Pressure.
So it is mental pressure, and he's got to get the confidence back in that he can do everything that he could do before. And he's only going to know that, though, when he's actually out on a court. I would be very interested exactly how the Celtics handle this one, because this could go wrong very badly. But if it was another franchise, I would say this could go really, really wrong. But because it's a Celtics, they don't tend to mess things up.
No, and again, they don't need to right now.
No, I was going to say it's just a patience game, I think, and. Yeah.
I still think the Celtics will make a move before the playoffs anyway, just in case Hayward isn't ready to go, because I think they do know they haven't quite got enough yet.
Yes, it'll be busy around the trade deadline. I think maybe it depends on what Cleveland do or don't do at that point as well. So where it becomes cat and mouse kind of game.
I think again, once the DeAndre Jordan scenario is sorted out, then I think the rest of the dominoes will fall after that.
Yeah, I agree.
Wait and see.
Watch
this
see.
space.
It is classic time will tell with this one.
Yeah.
Not long though. Not long. So Kawhi Leonard returning from injury.
Kawhi Leonard?
I kind of said that.
Oh. They said Kyrie. I was going to say,
Oh,
not
no.
there yet.
Trust me,
Sorry.
I know who Kyrie is.
I'd rather have.
But we mentioned on the show a couple of weeks ago that Popovich said that this was one of the worst quad injuries that he'd seen. He made his debut back on Tuesday's game against the Mavs. He played for 16 minutes, scored 13 points and 6 rebounds. Expected to play similar minutes over the next foreseeable games. But, I mean, what does this mean for the Spurs? Could this change things around? Obviously, they didn't win the game on Tuesday.
Yeah, no, this
But
is
he played his part.
This is only a good for the Spurs. I mean, he's one of the top 5 players in the league. So if you, any time you can add that to a team, it's going to be better. And the Spurs are almost in a similar situation. They're going to be thereabouts come playoff time. No need to rush him. The Spurs are, fundamentally year in, year out, the same thing. So he knows what to expect. I think it's just working him back in gradually. And Pop even said it was like a very efficient kind of 16 minutes. And 13 points in 16 minutes is incredible.
Exactly.
I think for me, it's like scary times for the NBA. So all of a sudden the Spurs are getting healthy. I mean, Tony Parker's just come back. Then again, him back as well.
Yep.
I mean, Rudy Gay goes back to the bench. Patty Mills goes back to the bench.
Yep.
You've already got Manu on the bench as well. And again, it's basically the Spurs retooling again for another run at this in the Western Conference. Maybe it's return against Dallas. It wasn't a game that they had to win. It would have been nice, obviously, if they had won that game. There's always been a bit of rivalry between the Spurs and the Mavs, that Texas rivalry. But I think it's great for the NBA. I mean, he is one of the top 5 players. I mean, he's the best defender in the NBA year in, year out. I mean, I know that other players have won the Defensive Player of the Year award, but for me, it should just be called the Kawhi Leonard award.
Yeah, no,
he is the best player.
Yeah, for me, 100%. I put him in the MVP, and obviously not this year, but who knows? Maybe when he is back healthy, you can see how good he is. By him not being on the team, you can see how good he is when he's back.
I think it's very difficult to give MVP to a Spurs team because of the way they're set up.
Give it to Pop.
I mean, this is again, it's like that's another example of that. For me, the coach of the year every year is Greg Popovich.
Yeah.
It again should just be the Greg Popovich award because he is the best coach in the NBA. There is no doubt about that. But the way that they're set up, I mean, Kawhi had an incredible season last season, but in general, things are kind of spread around that team. And we know when it comes to MVP voting and everything else like that, if you've got multiple players on a team that are playing incredibly well, they take votes away from each other. We've seen it in the Rookie of the Year as well last year, where votes were split between Saric and one of their other superstars.
Yeah, I can't remember.
And at the end of the day, that's how Cam Brogdon got the Rookie of the Year. And for me, he wasn't the Rookie of the Year. But that's where it's very difficult for Spurs. And of course, then you've got the other side of it, is the fact that the Spurs rest players. That's another thing. You're going to have that scenario with them.
Well, hopefully not this year. That's why they've kind of tweaked it, isn't it? That should be the Pop rule as well. But
Okay, well, you say that. A
them.
prime example the other night, Kyrie Irving sat out.
Yeah. No, you're right. They're still going to rest. You're right.
Players are still not playing back-to-backs.
Yeah. Which I think is ridiculous. They shouldn't get paid. If you don't play every game, you shouldn't get paid for every game. Unless you're injured.
I know, but I get
real injury.
I was going to say, but still, I think sometimes it's like any other sport. If it's not a game that you're not necessarily required, and they think that by having that rest, you're going to be playing 10 times better for the game that you are required, switch it up, give those other people those chances.
But it depends where you are in the season and standing, and also on the road. For instance, if it's Cleveland going west, they only go there once a year. So if LeBron doesn't play in Sacramento, you don't get to see him.
No, I do
That's
agree
fair.
with that.
That's fair. But then, do you play for the team or do you play for the fans?
There you go.
Fans pay the money.
They do, but then fans knock you if you don't have X so many titles at the end. So win, you're
Catch
screwed
22
either
there,
way.
right?
Yeah.
The vicious circle.
The circle of life.
So next up, we're looking at the Sixers making a trade with the Nets for Yahil. Is it? But do you pronounce the J then?
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
In
Okafor.
on Earth we do.
The Latina coming out. Okafor to the Nets. Do we think he can thrive in Brooklyn? I mean, we haven't obviously touched on the Nets for weeks. Not really been a talking subject, but I mean, could this make a difference?
I like this trade from both sides.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, I think Trevor Booker's a guy that's been brought in to hopefully help the Sixers bench going towards the playoffs. I mean, he's been a bit of a journeyman around the NBA, and they kind of view him as a guy that they can count on come playoff time. It's interesting to see that Sixers actually now thinking about the playoffs, actually looking at what that might look like, whereas before it's just like, that's another bad season, we'll just get rid of that. But for Okafor, I think the interesting thing is he's been the forgotten man in the Sixers. They kind of hoped that he would be able to play with Embiid that became apparent very quickly that he wasn't able to be able to do that. So then Okafor was kind of like riding the bench. And it's been no secret that they've been trying to get rid of him for some time now. I mean, the Bulls were linked last season. Apparently this whole deal with the Nets has been talked about for months. And they've finally been able to do it. I mean, there's an interesting story around here that even Okafor's father was wearing T-shirts basically free him from the team at the arena, which I think is absolutely hilarious. I mean, Okafor's played 25 minutes this season in 2 games.
Yeah.
That's all he's played.
Yeah.
So this will be his opportunity to kind of see whether or not he can actually work his way into the rotation in Brooklyn. So they turned around and said to him, you're going to have to earn your minutes. You're going to have to play hard. At the moment, we haven't really seen that from Okafor.
No, but then he hasn't been on the floor to do it. So, and I think that's also credit more to Joel Embiid as to how good he is. Maybe Okafor, is not needed now. But for the Brooklyn side, I do like it. I like what they're doing in there, bringing in Russell on the off season as well. I think they're building. There's no pressure on Brooklyn. Nobody's expecting. Like you said, we haven't even talked about them. So and Okafor is a good player. I mean, rookie year, 17.5 points a game last year, just under 12 points. So he can score, and he's a big guy. Defensively, we'll see, but this is going to be his best chance. I mean, if he played for Philly, as we saw, he's not going to get much. So he's going to be on the court, and I like it's interesting that they're rivals in the same division, so they do get to play each other. As Embiid kind of said, we look forward to kicking your ass 4 times a year, that kind of thing. So I love the trade. I do, and I think it's exciting for Brooklyn. Going to be in the future, hopefully. We'll see.
One of those great win-win ones. Yeah, for me.
That's it.
Doesn't happen.
Nice, wholesome trade.
That's it. It's family. This time of year, it's festive.
It's festive. Right. Thanks, guys. That brings us to a close on this week's episode of the Weekly Review. Please make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that you get notifications whenever our new shows drop. And until then, have a great week. See you later.
You gotta keep your eye on the ball, boys. Check out our latest hoops offer. RedZoneSports.bet, the British home of American sports.